Hey guys, Colin here, and welcome back to Fight for Truth, the channel where we bring you Christian commentary about the things that matter. In today's video, we're going to be talking about Target going full-on satanic. And I know what some of you may be thinking. Colin, come on, clickbaiting us like this? Not cool. Obviously, Target is not actually supporting Satanism, right? For all of those who hold to that opinion, let me tell you that this is not clickbait. And I can offer you 100% proof that Target has aligned itself with Satanism and other incredibly evil worldviews. Let's get right into it. If my memory serves me right here, Target was one of the first companies to allow the whole transgender bathroom phenomenon to take place in their stores. But if that wasn't enough, this Pride Month, they have taken their unbiblical depravity to a whole new level. They are now selling pro-LGBT and specifically transgender clothing marketed to little children. Yes, you heard that right. Let me show you an example of this in an actual Target store on video. Watch this.
Because I heard that their new Pride collection was out, so let's take a look. This is a special swimsuit. It is invented for tucking. Live, laugh, lesbian. Are they amoebas? These don't even look like people. Queer. This right here. These are baby clothes. Trans people will always exist. This is the ugliest shirt I've ever seen. Kids go into a pride parade. You get a little pride skirt for your kid. Super queer. It's like a superpower. Honestly, Target, what is going on? This is pretty disgusting.
So yes, as the girl in the video was saying, this is an actual product being sold at a Target store near you. It's a little girl's bathing suit that is tuck-friendly. In other words, if your little boy wants to wear a girl's bathing suit, but he's worried that everyone at the public pool is going to be grossed out, as they should be, all he has to do is buy Target's new tuck-friendly swimsuit, and this will hide his gender, so to speak, from the rest of the swimmers. Now, it's at this point that we need a little history lesson, folks. Does anyone else remember the line that was repeated over and over and over again by the LGBT activists when they were fighting for gay marriage? Because I do. It was something along the lines of, what gives you the right to say what two consenting adults should do in the bedroom? This has nothing to do with you. Just stay out of other people's business. The argument was always centered around consenting adults. Those were the two words that came up over and over and over. But you see, what the LGBT mob failed to factor in here was the plain fact that whatever behavior is allowed among consenting adults will inevitably affect the rest of society. Most notably, it will affect children, the most vulnerable people in society. Look behind you, there's the slippery slope. And by the way, this bathing suit situation isn't just immoral, it's also incredibly dumb. If your son feels uncomfortable wearing a woman's bathing suit, it's because he should. He's a little boy. And the solution to this is simple. Just put him in boys' clothing, and then he won't have to worry about what he looks like in girls' clothing. This isn't exactly rocket science. But you see, Target's absolute insanity doesn't stop with tuck-friendly bathing suits. They have tons of merchandise in their recent Pride collection that is being marketed directly to little children, even babies. Here's a picture of a baby onesie that says, "BN Proud," complete with rainbow-colored letters in case you didn't get the pun. This item of clothing is for actual infants. So much for this only being about consenting adults, right? But it goes on. Here's a picture of an item that Target calls a baby jumper romper that says, quote, "Be kind," with a rainbow on it. This one is particularly bad. Not only is it pride clothing for children, which is already wrong, but it's actually being marketed as a simple call to kindness, a call to compassion. After all, who doesn't want their child to be kind and to be surrounded by kindness? But the actual message here is far more sinister. They're saying that the LGBT movement is in and of itself a kindness. It's part of being kind. In reality, it's a perversion of God's creation and a manifestation of sin against both God and man. Romans 1:26 through 27 says that sexual perversions like this are shameful, dishonorable, and sinful. There is absolutely no real kindness in the LGBT worldview, whatever they may tell you. And next, we have a pink dress for a little girl that's in their Pride collection and has a rainbow on it as well. This one is extremely deceptive because the grand majority of little girls would love a pink dress with a rainbow on it. but they aren't exactly looking to be outspoken advocates for homosexual activity in wearing that outfit. So the fact that Target is trying to effectively smuggle that sexual meaning into a child's wardrobe without them knowing is absolutely appalling. And frankly, this is a dress that I could easily see some sweet, unassuming old lady buying for her granddaughter without any idea of what the dress is trying to say. So you see, they're trying to turn little children into billboards for their sexual sin. And this is something particularly dangerous according to Jesus himself. In Matthew 18:6, he says, quote, "But whoever causes one of these little ones who believe in me to sin, it would be better for him to have a great millstone fastened around his neck and to be drowned in the depths of the sea." End quote. When you start corrupting innocent children, that is not something the Lord takes lightly at all. Target is playing a very dangerous game, one that they will not win. Here's another example. A little girl's shirt in their Pride collection that says, quote, "It takes all kinds." The shirt has a unicorn, a chicken, and a lion on it. So what would any unassuming child think that this shirt means? Well, they would think that it's a cute shirt about all the different kinds of animals that are in the world, right? But that's not what Target is driving at. By all kinds, Target is referring to all the different kinds of genders you can be, and all the different kinds of sexual orientation you can have. Remember, this is in their Pride collection. Again, they are intentionally smuggling their sexual worldview into the clothing of small children. We need to stand up against this. They're trying to use children as pawns in the culture war against biblical Christianity. But perhaps nothing was more bizarre than this design of some sort of woman-man hybrid with a shaved head and hairy legs, sitting down seemingly naked with their legs covering up their body. I mean, seriously, what even is this thing? This was accompanied by the trans pronoun they as well. Now, why on earth do children need to see this kind of bizarre picture? Some naked woman with hairy legs and a shaved head. Well, frankly, the only reason you would show something like this to a child is if you have an agenda for them. And the fact that this agenda seems to be so blatantly sexual should be enough to wake up the Christian church in this country. This kind of thing is not acceptable, especially not to God. But let's put the icing on the cake here. Target has also partnered up directly with a biological woman who goes by the name of Eric. And this individual has evidently been pumped full of artificial hormones to assume the appearance of a man. And this woman named Eric has a design brand called Aprelin, who Target is working with this Pride Month. The only problem is that Eric is full of hatred against the truth of Christianity and anyone who believes it. She also happens to be a Satanist. Yes, you heard that right. And she puts Satanist messaging into her designs. Here's a first example. A picture of Eric with horns on her head, sporting a shirt that says, quote, "Satan respects pronouns." Just let that sink in. She wrote in the caption of that photo, quote, "Satan loves you and respects who you are," end quote. And by the way, of course Satan supports trans pronouns. He's the mastermind behind this whole evil thing. According to John 8:44, Satan is the father of lies, and transgenderism is of course one of the most blatant lies out there these days. So it's not surprising then that transgenderism is satanic, unbiblical, demonic, etc. We already knew that. But it's a bit surprising that these people don't even care enough to hide it anymore. In fact, they're telling you outright that they're being demonic. The question is, why are so many American Christians not aware of this? But it gets even worse. Here's another design of hers that says, quote, "If I cannot inspire love, I will cause fear." And on it is a wolf in sheep's clothing. Again, they are telling you what they're doing. They're telling you who they are. The trans movement is a Trojan horse. It's a wolf in the clothing of a sheep. They want you to think that this movement is all about freedom and independence and kindness and love. In reality, it's about control and dominance over dissenting voices, chief among those being traditional Christians. According to 2 Corinthians 11:14, even the devil disguises himself as an angel of light. So it should be no surprise then that the transgender movement is being disguised as compassion. But it's not just the Satanism here that presents a problem. There are also some disturbing implications of violence in Eric's work. Here's a pin that she made with the words, quote, "homophobe headrest" on it. For those who can't tell, this headrest is a guillotine. Translation, if you're a straight, traditional Christian who believes what the Bible says about homosexuality and transgenderism, namely that it's a sin, well, you deserve to have your head cut off for being so homophobic and so hateful. And guys, I can't imagine a more ironic statement than this. But the whole LGBT movement is a denial of reality in the first place, so I can't say I'm surprised. Imagine an angry mob of people outside with rainbow-colored pitchforks and torches at your door chanting, "Love is love, now let's kill all the homophobes." In all seriousness, this individual is clearly disturbed inside. This behavior is bizarre and unhinged. And here's what Eric had to say about all of those who are against the trans worldview. Quote, "In order to keep the transphobes at bay, we must eradicate them. It is very important to not engage in conversation with them. Fascists do not listen to reason, and they do not deserve the trans person's valuable time." End quote. So this trans activist says that you cannot reason with transphobic people. But here's the thing. The second you start saying that women can be men and men can be women, you have lost all right to appeal to reason, as you clearly have no grasp on it yourself. And notice the irony here again. We have a movement that falsely claims all the time that trans people are being hunted down, even though there's no evidence of that. And yet, this person is simultaneously calling for the eradication of transphobic people. And this is the designer that Target has decided to align themselves with. Let that sink in. This is the type of person that they want to work with. And the point I want to make here is simple. None of this behavior would have been tolerated or allowed in the public square just 20 years ago, for example. Just 2 decades ago, this kind of thing being publicly promoted by an organization like Target would have been unthinkable to the average person. But things are changing. They have been for a long time. You see, the LGBT movement has been fighting tooth and nail for years now to change the ethical standard for sexual activity in our society. Most recently, they have fought to change the very definition of what a man or a woman is. They want to be the arbiters of reality, and therefore, they want to supplant God. They want to be God, if that were possible. Christians, we must stand up against this. There is no neutrality. Either God is your source of truth or man is your source of truth. You cannot have both. They are fundamentally opposites. And the inconvenient fact is that this movement is absolutely coming for your kids. They absolutely want your children to be advocates of the LGBT worldview. And they are taking steps to accomplish that end. But we have to stand up and say enough is enough. It's God's way or the highway. We've allowed society to drift further and further away from truth for years now. And this, well, it's the result. But you don't get to make up your own gender. You don't get to make up your own marriage. You don't get to make up your own truth. And you certainly don't get to demand that everyone else support you in your delusion. So please, Christians, look out for your children and be vigilant, faithfully, for God's glory. And please, don't buy anything from Target. They are an evil and wicked company who me and my wife will not be giving our money to. I pray this has been a blessing to you, and please know this video isn't meant as a sinful attack, but rather as a biblical critique. Pray for this channel and for anyone mentioned in the video. And as always, check out the teaching ministries and church networks linked in the description. By God's grace, let's move forward joyfully, holding to the truth of God's Word. Thank you so much for watching.